Welcome to Story Route Zero.
This is a podcast where friends gather to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and the strange worlds of video games. We often don't know where we're going, but that's half the fun. Come on the journey with us. Hit us up on Twitter at StoryRoute0. You can send us an email at StoryRoute0@gmail.com. That includes questions, concerns, comments, complaints, pet pics. Send us some recipes. Send us some stories about your day. We're going to listen.
Podcast, start your engines. We have liftoff. Let's have a journey.
All right, this 97. All right, my gamers and gamerettes. I'm going to rub your ass with the moonshine. Let's take it back to 79. We begin our Game of the Year celebrations with the Wu-Tang Clan. That was my riff on ODB because I didn't want to say the N-word. My name is Matthew.
This is a long couple hours. Let's not start off on that.
My name is Matthew. I've got Jason, Moose, and Michaela with me. And so this is the penultimate episode of Story Route Zero, where we start talking about our favorite shit of the year. This episode will be just a smattering of categories we've picked, and each of us has our own winner of said categories and honorable mentions. I came up with some dumb names for these categories earlier, but I'm not going to put anyone else through that because clearly everyone was not happy with me about it. But Jason, I'm going to let you run this if that's okay.
Sure. Well, we always talk about how it's not all about you, but we start with the biggest miss / most disappointing game. We gotta have some negativity and just get it out of our system for the year. So who wants to go first?
Moose.
Well, I don't really have any honorable mentions. So my number 3 is Metroid Dread. Not a disappointment, but a miss. Well, actually, it kind of is a disappointment leading into a miss because Matt and I chatted about it, I think, while we were playing games, and we were just I was not expecting to be chased around. I wasn't expecting Resident Evil.
Yeah, what the hell? Nobody has talked about this. It's fucking Resident Evil.
So that kind of leaded into a disappointment because it was I just want to play a Metroid game and explore and have fun. But then it's a miss for me because I've ventured into it maybe 2-3 hours, and it's really not as bad as I initially thought. So you just got to get past it and just kind of deal with it, and you just have to realize you're gonna die a lot, like Dark Souls. So that's why it was a disappointment first and then led into a miss. So I am gonna go back to it. I do want to beat it, but I had to do a lot of other things for this list and for the list on the next show to be able to talk about. So I was I have not played it enough to put it anywhere on here. But anyways, that's number 3.
It's a miss on me for that I didn't play it sooner. Not that it's been out long. I mean, it came out at the end of the year.
It's been 2 whole months. Get on it.
Did you beat it, Jason?
No, that's why it's a miss, because I didn't complete it.
Okay.
I finished 46 games.
I finished 27.
No, so miss in that regards, more of a surprise because I'm a huge Metroidvania fan, not necessarily a Metro. I don't have Metroid doesn't it's the first Metroid and then there's this gap to Dread kind of. But yeah. I will say one of the biggest surprises was the Mr. X type theme of, I wasn't expecting to be hunted and be like, and even the game was like, you can dodge this, but it's highly unlikely. In fact,
Yeah,
it probably won't happen, so you're gonna die. I mean,
It's
at
like
least
that robot
I think
in
I
Rogue
did it
One.
like 4
It's
times
like-
total.
I mean, at least when you die, it's not like you backtrack. Like, unless you're just incredibly unlucky or purposely didn't save, you don't lose that much progress. But it's like the first few times you're like, this is what we're doing, huh? Yeah. Wasn't expecting this.
Yeah. I started the game and then I got involved with another game, and that particular game that I will probably end up talking about a lot on this show took over my life in a way that I was ill prepared for, and it ruined me playing a lot of my misses. I'm gonna go next if that's okay.
Well, it's Moose. Are you done, Moose?
I'm done with number 3, or did you want me to go through the whole?
Oh yeah, do it all
I mean,
quick. Quick fire this shit.
All right,
Minigun it, Moose.
Go, Matt.
So misses for me were games I just didn't get to play. Ratchet and Clank, Deathloop, Unsighted, Returnal, and Skull the Hero Slayer, as well as Metroid Dread.
Boo this man.
Yeah, I know. My most disappointing games, one new game this year and 2 Game Club games. 12 minutes. A game that on its face looked like my shit, but ended up actually completely not being. When you're trying to start a family, do not play 12 minutes.
I heard though that a lot of people were unhappy. They were hyped for it, and the way it like turns out, and I guess there's a twist, which was kind of expected. People were not really okay with it, or just like it just disappointed a lot of people.
Yeah, it was like I listened to the Waypoint spoiler cast of it after I decided I was done, and it got worse. So I'm like, whoa. Aim for art, Annapurna, but what the fuck? And then the 2 Game Club games that disappointed me the most were Foul Play and Sleeping Dogs. But
Oh, yeah.
I think we could all put Sleeping Dogs in this.
I think we can all put Sleeping Dogs on that.
yeah,
Like,
on
that.
Because I did.
Yeah.
I didn't, but I did put this one was it's weird having an honorable mention for disappointing. It's like, yeah.
It's a dishonorable mention. I have a category that has like 4 dishonorable mentions.
So
We'll find out later.
This is weird because I was super excited for this game, but I think the hype got Tribes of Midgard.
Ooh,
I beat
Yeah.
it.
we're hyped for that.
And then
Yeah.
I guess because it ended so quickly, I just had no desire. Maybe because I don't even know if it was because I was too busy with other games. I finished it. Like they announced the 2nd season with a new final boss, and I was like, oh, maybe, but like, I don't know. I mean, but I guess I wasn't as upset because it's an indie and it was only $20, so that softened the blow. But it was like something that like I saw this shell of a game at PAX Live. Like it wasn't even what we have today. Like before Gearbox even agreed to publish it. Like so. This was a weird one. The other one was, it's hard to be upset about a freebie, but I reviewed it, so I get 2. Destruction All-Stars. What the hell? I thought this was going to be like Rocket League meets Twisted Metal, and like this would be something like, oh, I could pick this up, play like a few rounds. Like this would be like I'll just play a couple, like, I'm going to start my night. I'll play a couple rounds and be done. No, I could barely play enough to finish my review. This was,
Wow.
And then like the whole, oh, we're still charging $60. And then they were like,
70.
We'll walk that back. It'll be 20. It was like, but yeah, that was, and then like I said, Metroid, but more of a wish I played it when it first came out.
Yeah.
Michaela?
All right. So in terms of my biggest misses, games that I just didn't get to play, Astria Ascending, and I'm gonna blame GameStop for
That's GameStop's fault.
not having my order for a long period of time.
This
Thanks,
episode
GameStop.
sponsored by GameStop.
You're right. Like they got the money for that shit. And then also Biomutant, which just came out when I was moving. And then I've been keeping up with new games, and have not been able to take it out of the backlog yet. So that one is a priority for me because I've been excited for that game since like 2016. So it's a big deal that I
You
didn't
get
get
a,
to
you
play it.
get a, you get a 90% pass on that because you played Final Fantasy VII again just because it was on a new system. So
No, it got a DLC.
no, 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 no. No,
Code.
no.
I like how the judge doesn't let it slide. I
No,
like this.
We're getting full on Festivus Jason here right now. I
Like
love
this.
it.
Gotta love
I have problems with you people.
I got
All right,
problems
so
with
those are
every
my
one
two
of you.
biggest misses: Astria Ascending and Biomutant, in terms of games that I just did not get the chance to play. Most disappointing, I threw Sleeping Dogs in here and also River City Girls for my backlog challenge because I hated it.
Yeah, that one hurts. That kind of hurts, but you know,
I know.
it's
It's-
subjective. It's subjective.
What
It's
about-
I just didn't
okay.
enjoy the controls
that's fair.
or the
That's fair.
characters. So, but
Yeah.
obviously, my most disappointing game, which I'm still playing and have not given up on and will continue to play, is Shin Megami Tensei 5, which was one of my most hyped games for the year. It is the JRPG of JRPG-ness, so it is surprising that these words are coming out of my mouth, but it
Mhm.
just falls flat. And this is one that other people are not complaining about. I have not
No.
seen any negative reactions. It got 9 out of 10 reviews, all that shit. But I think it's a flat game. There's no content besides go here, fight the thing, go here, get a cutscene, get told to go to the next place and rinse and repeat. There's no character development. There's no interactivity in the world really, besides just some basic like collectibles and fetch quests. It's flat, and even the music isn't a bump, which you would expect from Atlas. So
It's a hard pass for me forever.
Swing and a miss.
Yep. All right. Well, before we get into 2021, what was everyone's favorite old game? And for clarification, this is a game that released pre-Game of the Year qualifying December 2020. So it was something,
Also known as the man Ingmar Bergman directed for a long time award. Yeah, I did it.
moving on. Matt, you
Close
can
that-
go first.
I'll close that tab now. Favorite old game with a bullet, Hitman 2016. It's one of my favorite franchises. Playing the 2016 version illuminated just how good it is again. Also, runners up: Super Mario 3D World, the best 3D Mario, Resident Evil 2 Remake, and Earthbound.
Nice.
Moose.
Mine are number 3, Cave Story Plus. It's a great little indie game. Play it if you get a chance. We all have a Switch. I suggest buying it and on sale and playing it. Number 2 is Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I actually think I like it way more than Wildlands, Jason. It's a lot of fun now. Like they've really fixed that game. And then number 1 with a bullet, and it had to be because it's twice old. It is an older game, as in it came out in 2009, and then it also came out last year, Demon Souls. So
I award you 0 points for that one because you just got a PS5. But I'll let it go.
What the heck does that matter?
He played an old game.
It's an old game.
Said
It came out
last
last.
before December 2020.
Well,
so
fine.
That was
But Moose did-
November. What?
but Moose-
12th
it
came
makes
out?
it by a month.
Fine. You
Mhm.
made it by a month.
All right. That's it. That's 1-3.
Michaela?
I don't want to say mine because I got called out hard in the last category.
No, you
That's all right.
didn't. Who called you out?
Jason did.
So in
For
my number
what?
3 spot, I have FF7.
Wait.
Okay. Whoa.
Okay. Hang on.
That doesn't.
Did you twist your ankle
No, that
because you're
did come-
using a crutch?
That
I'm
did.
talking about FF7 because it got the PS5 upgrade, but I played it this year. It came out last year.
Let me clarify. Moose's, I felt, wasn't an old game in the fact that PS5 is impossible to get still. He didn't have a launch PS5, so he couldn't, and it wasn't available anywhere else. Your game, on the other hand, came out last generation, but you.
Who made this guy the gatekeeper?
Is
That
it the goal? I mean,
beginning of the episode.
Moose. I've been up for more than a day, and my vision is a little blurry. Is he moving the goalposts on us?
Mhm.
I think he is.
Yep.
Okay.
Every time
That's
he's
the
like
way
every
I didn't wanna
category
go.
he's moving the goalposts.
All right, so I put that at number 3 because I knew it was a little bit of a stretch.
Oh, okay.
didn't
I thought
put
that
it
was
higher.
number 1. Ooh, okay. Fine.
No, that was
All
number
right.
3.
Well,
Number
it came out
2,
initially in 2019, right?
2020.
Oh, it was 2020. Yeah, you get a pass. Whatever.
And then so my number 2 is actually from Game Club is Concrete Genie.
Ooh.
And number 1, I don't know if you guys even remember I played this, but technically it was my first time playing this version of the game, Final Fantasy 12, the Zodiac Age.
Right.
Oh,
And then you
went
on
on
another
way
part,
back in
yeah,
like
that,
January, February. Because I had only played the PS2 version before. I had never played the remaster, which came out like 2017-ish, and I did that. I guessed it on that podcast, so I played through FF12 to become an FF12 nerd. Just it was great. Fucking love
If
it.
you had to recommend the original or the remake, which would you recommend most?
For new players, definitely the Zodiac Age version. If you didn't grow up with the PS2 version, quality of life is a lot better in the Zodiac Age version.
Cool. I'm looking to get it. I just haven't bought it yet. I don't think I need to buy anything, but anyways.
Yeah.
My runner-up is Resident Evil 2. Really wish I played that on release. That was fantastic.
That was such a fun time.
Like,
oh
wow.
my god.
And then my favorite old game, and I mentioned this, and you guys were like, "What?" Was when I finally got to beat Alleyway, 30 plus years in the making.
Oh. 30 years later, Jason masters the game. Nice.
I thought the batteries were gonna die on that game on the Game Boy before I finished.
Awesome.
All right, let's dive into new games, I guess. Favorite combat. We'll start with we'll come out kicking.
Okay.
Moose.
Yeah. You own all 3 at once? I'll go all 3 at once.
Go ahead.
3, Ape Out. Had a blast. The combat in that game is just a lot of fun. Running around, pushing people into walls or grabbing them and throwing them at people. Most importantly, throwing them out windows. Number 2, Cave Story. Just the weapons in that are cool, so it makes it really fun to try and engage enemies and figure out what the best way to dispose of them is. And then number 1 is Death's Door. The combat in Death's Door is it's so good. It's so good. It's so responsive. You got like a bunch. You got some magic spells at your disposal. You got a charge attack. You got a quick attack, and then you can level up. And so it just makes it a lot of fun.
Michaela.
Agreed.
All right, so I have a couple honorable mentions here. I threw in Near Replicant for an honorable mention, Ender Lilies and East 9. And then my top ones, I have a tie for 3rd place, and these games are so opposite in their combat system. I couldn't even tell you why I have them tied for 3rd, but I do, because one's a Muso and one's turn-based. Persona 5 Scrambled and Bravely Default 2. Both very, very good combat systems. I remember in my review, I was like, Persona 5 Scramble is the least Muso feeling Muso I've ever played, which is a compliment in my eyes because it's not just brainless hack and slash. And then Bravely Default 2, very sound job class driven, turn-based combat. Love it. With a turbo, thank God. Second place, Tales of Arise. Dope as fuck. Dope as fuck. The character switching is good. Everybody feels different. You can really master them. Love it. And number 1 with a bullet, Scarlet Nexus. Scarlet Nexus has buttery platinum games like hack and slash combat. Very good stuff.
It is pretty good. It's fun.
Matt?
Okay, my number 3 is a tie between Death's Door and Curse of the Dead Gods. Death's Door is really good, and Curse of the Dead Gods was really fun to do for Game Club. My number 2 is Everhood, game that came out in March of this year for the Nintendo Switch and PC. It is Guitar Hero, but we're going to destroy God with EDM. You should play this game. And now the combat is basically a Guitar Hero track, and then you're kind of moving around and then just jumping over things. It's a rhythm game, but it's fun as hell. Number 1, Kena, Bridge of Spirits. Best melee combat, in my opinion, since Sekiro.
My number 3 was actually Kena. By the end of the game, once you get into the flow of it, like between combat and the puzzle mechanics that had to be used during combat, I thought that was the coolest thing. Specifically the final fight that between phase 2 and 3, where you have to leap and grapple and platform and then like take out the guy. Like, I thought that was so cool how they did it.
Yeah.
Number 2 is Outriders. The gunplay just felt sound. I just enjoyed it the whole time, and then using your abilities and talents to change up the gameplay types was really cool. And number 1 for me was Biomutant.
Nice.
Once you figured out all your combos and everything, it was so cool. Like spinning around, you're a ninja squirrel raccoon hybrid rocket raccoon dude. It was just a blast.
Bringing like a chopped up stop sign on like a chainsaw or some shit.
I mean, that just was the cherry on top. Like all that, and you're swinging it, like you said, a stop sign attached to a pole with a chainsaw handle. Because
Kitchen sink combat, Biomutant.
And I feel like Biomutant I don't know why it got a bad. It probably was too hyped because it was teased and expected for so long. And I feel a lot of people missed it because I feel a lot of these gamers are the worst people on the internet. One person says it and it's like, oh, this is a terrible game. I'm not going to play it.
So, like, I knew that I knew all 4 of us were interested in it on some level. I don't think I knew the depths of everybody's interest with it prior. I didn't hear like a lot of the outside world talking about it until like it was a week from release date. And then like the comments about it weren't necessarily bad. They were just like, it's not perfect. And that means it sucks. And it's like,
right.
Well, because
that's gaming Twitter.
Because that's gamers.
We're in a medium where it's either the best or the worst. Nothing can be mediocre and still be enjoyed.
And it was an indie game that got AAA expectations.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And to be fair, the opening hour, which has been fixed, almost made me want to put the game down, like permanently. Like, not just take a break. Like, I told Moose, I was like, you have to power through. Like, it was painful. They fixed it since then. But so I can get that. But I think it's something, I mean, it's on sale plenty now. It's definitely something to check out. Next up, favorite game mechanic. Michaela. I'm just random. I'm randomly.
Now he's random.
Don't get comfortable.
Don't
Nobody's safe.
All right, so honorable mention. I'm throwing out to Nier. for board drifting. Because who
Wait.
the fuck doesn't
Oh,
want
board drifting. Yeah, board drifting.
board drifting?
Yeah.
Wait, board or boar?
Wild
Board,
boar
like
drifting.
Drifting on a
Okay.
giant
No,
board.
no. I wanted to make sure I heard you right. I was okay. That
Oh, you
sounds
heard
like
me.
awesome.
Board
Oh,
drifting.
it's dope. It's dope.
This is dope
It's
as
real
fuck.
good.
You board drift and just like run over 7 sheep. Just giant swath of sheep murder. Board drifting.
Tell Jeff that, Moose.
Yeah.
Livestock murder is his specialty.
Yeah. Yes, it
There's
is.
actually a trophy for killing 100 sheep, I think,
Yeah.
in that game.
There you go.
You get a trophy for it.
You get a trophy.
And I think there's an NPC that'll pay you for every 10 sheep meats or whatever. So it's a good way to farm money early game. It encourages you to kill the livestock, but they make these horrible bleats when you murder them.
Oh yeah.
Just turn the volume
They
down.
will also kick the shit out of you.
Oh yeah.
So,
those
be
those sheep
careful.
are mean.
Those sheep don't go gentle into that good
Yeah.
night.
No, they do not.
All right. So, and then my top 3, I had Curse of the Dead Gods. Just the namesake of the game, the curse mechanic itself, changing up the rogue formula, the risk reward inherent in what doors am I going to choose, what penalties am I going to take, how am I going to build my strategy for this run. I really liked that. And then I actually had another one where it was tied for 3rd, fishing in Tales of Arise, because I have a problem. Number
Nothing
2,
wrong with fishing.
I mean, it's not a JRPG without good fishing.
it's got to have one of the following: fishing, cards, or cooking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Caleb's
Yeah.
living
Many have
that
more.
weird farm life. Murdering sheep, fishing. Did you play
I just want to
Animal
be a
Crossing
farmer in a
too?
JRPG. That's
She
my
just
life
wants her
sentence.
surf and turf. You leave her alone.
1 p.m. while I
You do actually raise livestock in Tales of Arise. You can like just raise cattle and horses and chickens and shit and use their meat to cook.
I can't wait till Michaela in Tales of Arise has the Ron Swanson conundrum. I couldn't decide which cow to slaughter, so I slaughtered both of them, and they were delicious.
If the rats don't get to the food first. All right. Number
true.
2, I had the spirits from Ender Lilies, the way that, instead of having weapons or standard like attack
Mhm.
upgrades for your main character, having spirits that you accrue over time and can do different things with, and having that
And you
interesting
can upgrade
relationship with the
them, so-
protagonist. Yes.
That's
So,
nice.
Very unique mechanic, I think. And then number 1, part of the reason why the Scarlet Nexus combat system is my favorite of the year is the brain link mechanic from that game, where you it's mapped to like the face buttons, and you basically borrow your party members' abilities for different advantages in combat and whatnot, and it's just really fucking fun. So like you can switch
It
between
is.
fire and electricity, psychokinesis, teleportation, slowing down time, seeing invisible enemies, all these different cool powers that you constantly have at your disposal and can strategize with. And it's just really fun, and mixing and matching different strategies it gets good. It's good. Approved.
Matt?
Number 3 is a tie. The move meter from Kina and Death's Door, when you use like a special attack, depletes, but then you stay in combat and builds it back up. I don't know if it's because of exhaustion, but I cannot think of other games that have done that. I know there probably are. I don't think these are first, but I feel like the feedback loop that I experienced while playing these games made it worthwhile. Number 2, the electric current in Electhead. Electhead is a 2D platformer. It took me like 3 hours to beat, and it's very much in that limbo space where when you pass an area, you feel a lot smarter. It doesn't really dumb things down, but everything is designed very, very well. And it's designed well around the use of the principles of electric current. It is an amazing game. It's on itch, it's on Steam. Check it out. And number 1, you're going to be hearing this a lot, the death card mechanic in Inscription. When you die in Inscription, the person you are playing against takes you in the back, gives you 3 options you pick the card's cost. Then it gives you 3 more options to pick the card's stats, like hit points and attack points. And then you pick its sigil, which is like its little ability. This is a silly, stupid, hyper OP thing to do for a roguelike deck building section of a game, we'll call it. And it's wonderful. Some of my favorite moments were when I found my death cards in a run and got to be stupid for a while with them, because you got some overpowering ones, but I'll talk about that later.
Moose?
So number 3 is the Predator Vision in Breakpoint, which is a lot of fun.
Which,
running
yes,
around.
this is great. Oh my God.
So I just found it out like not too long ago. So I have been using it all the time, because Breakpoint's done some really good upgrades with the night vision goggles, because they have a dark mode where it makes the dark of night even darker. So you still don't want to like go guns blazing. Yeah, but the Predator mode is awesome, because like you got to get used to the way the world is fed back to you, but once you do, it's a lot of fun. And just shooting people in the head with a shotgun is the greatest thing ever, because it's just a giant red blurb like just on the screen. You're just like having fun with it. And the new DLC that they put out, this mode is extremely helpful, because they have invisible guys. They have the camo, the disappearing camo from Metal Gear Solid. But anyways, they're a pain in the ass to find, and they don't show up any other way but this way. You can see them pretty clearly, and it's just like it helps, because they will kick your ass in a second. So that's number 3. Number 2 is the weapons needing to be leveled in K Story. So like in K Story, you actually have to kill your enemies to pick up little gold like squares, and like a big enemy will drop like one that's worth 5 whatever points, whatever. And as you level up your weapon does like certain abilities. So like there's one weapon that's my favorite, and I believe it's the bubble gun. So when it's level 1, it's nothing but bubbles, so it does nothing for you. But like as you level it up, when you get to the highest level, I turned on turbo, and it's just an endless stream of like hard hitting bubbles. Or if you just hold it down, bubbles will float around you, and then they fly out in the direction that you're looking to like seek enemies. Holy cow, it's great for clearing things that are like over top of, you're trying to hide behind a little platform edge of a land, and you want to get the enemies above you. So you just sit there and use the bubble mechanics. The machine gun, not the machine gun, the pistol, the star pistol actually, no, it is the machine gun, actually allows you to hover. So like you can aim down, you can actually hover up to places and whatnot. So it has maneuverability. But if you take damage, you can't do that. So, and then my number 1 is Curse of the Dead Gods. Excuse me, everything in Curse of the Dead Gods. So you got the light dark mechanic you have to balance. You have the curse thing that you have to balance. You have to figure out, hey, am I starting with money so I don't have to worry about money levels, or do I want to hit all the money levels I can to stack the money and then follow up with either the stats or the weapons and the weapons upgrades? So it's just really cool, the mechanics that they put behind the game. I will admit it was very extremely frustrating balancing the light and the dark in the beginning of the game. But once you get the hang of it, it's good. It's really good. So those are my 3.
Tied for 3 were actually complete entire games, because they're based on the whole game is their mechanic. Skull the Hero Slayer. You swap your skull and get different abilities.
Guess what you swapped?
A little indie called 2D and Top D. The whole mechanic of 2 side scrolling switching.
This is a
to,
pun name, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, I remember this.
Michaela had
I think-
trouble with this review. She struggled.
Sure,
You mean
she
my eyes
did.
bled?
But I thought it was clever.
So
like the
that
whole-
was why she was off the episode you talked about that.
Number 2, the grappling hook in Returnal, because it's a grappling hook. I mean, it's a grappling.
Yeah.
No, I felt the grappling hook, and this felt just natural, and like it was easy. Like what was it? Ghost of Tsushima. eh, That game was phenomenal, but the grappling was not exactly smooth. It was kind of a little clunky. This,
Mhm.
like, you can, like, midair after a double dash, like, just if you saw it and the button prompt came, she would throw it and swing quick. And it was like, this is like Spider-Man level of grappling. And number one, in Deathloop, there was a ability called Nexus Link. You would tag an enemy, and any enemy close enough would be linked. You headshot that one person, four people can go down at once. And it was just the coolest thing to
Oh,
watch.
that's
Like,
dope.
through a scope, like, you take out one enemy, they're linked, and you just watch them all crumble. You're like, ooh. Or like
Nice.
throw a grenade and they all go flying. So yeah, those were mine. Next up,
Nice.
favorite controls. I'll go first this time. Ender Lilies is number 3 for me. I just felt with all the different spirits you got, it felt very smooth, like the control, like move, like the platforming and everything, and using your abilities, just it ran smoothly. There was no clumsiness. It was never awkward to use anything. 2, Biomutant. Once you got a hang of the combat, like, if you watch videos, it looks like Devil May Cry with the juggling, and that's always pushed me back because I feel like there's a certain skill bar, and like if you can't eclipse it, like the game becomes hard. This I felt picked up right away. Like, I think there was room for error, but it was fun to dive in, and like you can land these awesome combos without struggling. And one, Kina. I mean, all the combat and the movement were just so easy to pick up, and the way they used it all, it felt natural to do, like to grapple, to platform, to shoot, to aim. Like nothing felt cumbersome. Matt.
Uh, I have 4 here. Number 4 is an early access fighting game called Arca's Chroma. It's on itch, coming to Steam soon. It's a 2D fighter, heavy pixel art. It's done by one person, and I think it kind of, my fighting game knowledge isn't super deep, but it feels to me like melding somewhere between early Street Fighter fighting combat and pocket fighter combat. But it's all of the characters in the game look and feel different, but the controls are the same, and the controls are intuitive and they feel right. They're responsive, and it's going to be one of those games that I come back to for a long time. I've been coming back to it basically since the day I got my PC. Number 3, Monster Hunter Rise. I liked this a lot more than Monster Hunter World, just because I felt more empowered and everything was streamlined in a way that World just still feels obtuse. Number 2, Art of Rally. Easily the best racing controls I've played, in my opinion, since I played Burnout Paradise Remastered. Art of Rally is a wonderful game. It looks and feels beautiful. The soundtrack's great. You should play it. Number 1 is an Apple Arcade game. Sping, SP exclamation point NG. Played that early in the year, and I still think about how it made just a one finger touch. The way that they use the one finger touch to turn into, high level alley oops in NBA Jam, or intricate passing plays in FIFA, all just try and move. It's a physics game where you're a character, but like you're basically swinging, and your finger touch controls the swing, and you can make it do all sorts of different things, and I'm losing my words, so I sound like an idiot. But it's wonderful. It's on Apple Arcade. You should try it. SP exclamation point NG.
Moose?
Favorite controls. Number 3, Ender Lilies. For a Metro 2D side-scrolling Metroidvania, I felt it controlled really well. Combat was really good. I don't feel much like I always go back to like controls being really well with Super Meat Boy. Like whenever I played Super Meat Boy and I died, I was like, it's never the controls, it's always me. They're like tight, responsive, and precise. So I felt Ender Lilies was really good for what I was trying to do in that world and playing that game and getting that platinum. Number 2, Demon Souls. It's like putting on a really good pair of racing gloves and going for a drive. Like it's I mean, it controls really well. The one thing, excuse me, the one thing I do really love about Demon Souls that is better than the other Dark Souls games, and I hope it is in Elden Ring, is the bow. The bow controls so much better and aims so much better in Demon Souls than any of the Dark Souls games, even Dark Souls 3. And I am really looking for I know that Blue Point did Demon Souls, but I'm hoping that Miyazaki saw that and was like, hey, maybe we should get somebody to work on the bow, like the ranged weapons other than spells in the game. So and then number 1 is Death's Door. Just some controls on it are just really good, especially when you're in the boss fights and you're just, dodging for your life and trying to get some, DPS in and just not trying to die. So yeah, it's good.
Taylor?
2 honorable mentions here. I have Ratchet and Clank. Everything felt very sound in that game. It's a very not shooter friendly entry point for people looking to play like a 3D, like a third person shooter. So I played that, but then I also had my friends who are very casual gamers play that when they were visiting me this summer. And then my other honorable mention is Nier. So obviously one of the things they did with the remake is they just smoothed out combat and animations and everything a little bit. So it all feels very good and tight. Number 3 for me comes with a caveat. I didn't like the actual button mapping, the control scheme on the controller, but the controls themselves are extremely responsive and become very rewarding in how it relates between combat, exploration, everything. Metroid Dread is number 3 for me. Number 2, Curse of the Dead Gods. Yep.
On Dread, I forgot to bring this up to you guys. I'm playing with the 8-bit do. I found with the Emmy, when you have to melt the shield first and then blast them with the Omega, I couldn't aim with the 8-bit do enough on an angle. I had to actually switch to Joy-Cons because the 8-bit do it wouldn't let me get the right, like, because it's that one Emmy that comes at you in the hallway, and you have to kind of aim at, you have to melt it first and then hit it, and the hallway's not long. I died like 5 times. I switched to the Joy-Con. It was literally like maybe 3 degrees lower and it was the weirdest thing. But I do agree with, but I felt at times on shooting on an angle, felt very stiff in Dread.
I played it all on the Pro controller and I didn't have any issues.
Maybe it was the 8-bit do with that, but
it might be yours because I never had an issue with the 8-bit do doing it. Got the job done.
But again, I didn't play enough of it, so maybe it's just that one. But I do feel the controls were a bit, they didn't feel natural at first.
The button scheme got me. Like I said, the left trigger is what you should aim with when you have a gun. It shouldn't be your dash. That's weird. But the actual button mapping aside, the controls themselves felt very responsive and tight, and I got really good with them towards like playing the end game is very satisfying. Curse of the Dead Gods was my number 2. what more do we really need to say about that? We did a whole episode on Curse of the Dead Gods. Everything feels very slick, smooth. Everything feels very fair when you're moving around in that game. All good stuff. My number 1 was number 3 for a lot of people, Ender Lilies. I just really appreciated the relationships between mechanics, not just in combat, but with exploration. Like Jason's criticism for Fist is that you had to have the weapon equipped to use its exploration like aspects, like using the grappling hook or something like that. Whereas in Ender Lilies, once you unlock an ability with a spirit, it doesn't have to be your actively equipped spirit. You can just use it to move through the environment. Everything feels very fluid. I will never forget that bullshit I did to get across that chasm where there's a way easier way to do it. Matt and I fell into that obsession. So very, very good feeling in your hands kind of game.
I jumped, made a left at Albuquerque, quick U-turn, flew across, climbed down. You know you could climb the wall. Shut up.
I had a couple of
I
those.
didn't have
in
that spirit yet.
I had a couple of those in Death's Door as well. And I was like, don't you have a staring contest with me, Devolver? I will do or Acid Nerve or whatever developer publisher this is. I will win. You
Devolver did publish it, but yes.
Next category is favorite. What the fuck? I don't care. It doesn't matter. Whatever we want to name this. Matt, you can go first.
So this is I called it a question block category where it's just a random category that if you pay attention to your playing habits like me, or you pick up something that you want to talk more about, you can do this yourself. And I basically, if you wanted to do your own Tales from the Crypt episode, here you go. But yeah, so my favorite the category that I came up with was my favorite death cards in Inscription that I was able to create. Number 1, I named it Wampa Stampa because it's a free 7/7 infinite sacrifice. Now, I was never able to actually get this in a game, but if you do, it's basically a win because you only need 5 points on the other team or on the other player to win a match. So if you get that out in turn 1, match over. My second was a death card that I named the Plague o' Puns because I was tired. It costs 1 blood to bring out. It is 3 attack points, 2 defense points, and it's a duplicator. So every time you play it, another one of those is just put into your hand. So you can just line up. If you get an infinite sacrifice, you could just line up your battlefield right away. And then 3 is I called it Big Infinivibe. Again, don't know why. I was very tired naming these because I was up late usually. 1 blood, 2 attack points, 6 defense points, and it's poison. So anything that touches it dies. Inscription is really fucking good, you guys. You should really play it.
Michaela?
I didn't invent a category.
That's okay.
Moose?
Most fun co-oping. Number 3, Monster Hunter Rise. Matt and I had some good times.
Yes, we did.
That was a blast. I tried Monster Hunter World, and I agree with Matt. I feel like the controls, it's not as obtuse in Monster Hunter Rise. Yeah. Not only that, but you get a dog to ride around with.
Fuck,
and then
yes,
also your dog does attacks like your cat does. So your Pelico. So it's like double awesome. So
if you're by yourself, you can bring a dog and a Palico. It's a good time.
Yeah, it is a good time. Number 2 is Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Been co-oping with Jeff a lot, which is a lot of fun because we try and go in silent, and then one of 2 of us usually gets found, and then it turns into an absolute shit show. And it's just fun trying to get out of that shit show. And then also playing with my buddy Sneaky, who just bought it as well. And then last but not least, number 1 with a bullet for the platinum, Demon Souls. Demon Souls is just a lot of fun to co-op with, especially when your buddy just doesn't do anything right and has to go into the 3rd New Game Plus. So, okay.
I don't think this was me this time.
No, it wasn't you.
All right, good.
Shots fired, Razzie. But that was my category, and had some fun with it. But anyways,
My category was when our first episode of the show, I did favorite line. Well, obviously classic Gary.
Yeah,
So-
classic Gary.
From that, I decided favorite overall dialogue that's funny but like obtuse but funny to me and annoys most people, especially those who are against puns. No names spoken.
Wonder who that could be.
Third was surprisingly Disco Elysium. There are some conversations you have in your mind that are just, I was like cackling out loud, like reading them. And the best is like you're mostly reading them. So like
Mhm.
I'm like cracking myself up because I'm just reading this dialogue. 2 is Undermine. There are some quips when you come back to life. The wizard is like,
Oh God,
it's comedy gold.
the wizard's great in
Hey,
Undermine.
did you? No, you're not.
No, you
It doesn't
didn't.
matter. And one, because I did replay it, is Cthulhu Saves Christmas. The writing in that is just, it's just great. The breaking the fourth wall, it's just amazing. Favorite boss fight? Moose, you're on the clock.
all right.
Do you know what Nemesis means?
I'll give you that one. I'll give you the renaming of the categories. Favorite boss fight, Nemesis.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Do you know what Nemesis means? Number 3 was Walker and Ghost Recon Breakpoint, just to put a bullet through that dickhead's head. So a little bit of revenge, a little bit of this guy wants to do the right thing, but doesn't care how many people he kills to do the right thing. So that's the problem. So that was number 3.
I was
Number
Texas
2.
Ranger. Couldn't resist. I tried real hard.
It would be really funny if he was cast like in like 10 years as like Walker Texas Ranger. Anyways,
Kids' voice going, I will come at you like a spider monkey.
It's the guy that was in Punisher, John
Barenthal.
Barenthal, yeah. So, anyways, Matt's gonna like this one because I had to pick a boss from Demon Souls, and out of all of them that I could think of, I liked the old hero.
Yeah, you did.
Mainly because of his lack of vision, but also like he has a mechanic where he can't see you, so he goes off sound. But I would be on the other side of the arena, and Razzie and TB would be shooting at him. They're the ones doing the damage, and he jumps across the arena and lands on me and like almost one-shots me multiple times. That whole fight was me just dodging everything. But anyways, it's
and then you're
cool
dodging
fight.
into pots and you're breaking stuff and
You're trying to run around pillars that don't have debris on the other side, so you have to run right back around. But it's a cool fight. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I did do it solo once or twice to try and practice it. I just re-downloaded my save and re-ran there and got through it. But that's a good fight. And then number 1 is Grandma, Witch of Urns from Death's Door. That's a damn good fight. I really like that one.
Creepy Mrs. Potts from Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah. It was. I missed the one trophy that you have to get by fighting her. So unlike Matt, I can't get the platinum on the first playthrough, but I do want to play it again, so I will be getting the platinum for this game. But yeah, that fight's a lot of fun. I had a good time with it. Also, if you can't tell people, I highly recommend you get Death's Door. I think a lot of us do. So
yeah.
Kayla?
All right, so this is the category where I have a whole category of dishonorable mentions. So real quick, in the dishonorable mentions, I have East 9, Fist, Ratchet and Clank, FF7 Remake Intermission DLC, and literally any other fucking game that made me fight a giant centipede this year. Y'all can eat my farts.
I love it.
Oh
Those ones are
shit!
in
You
the
do have to
dishonorable.
fight a giant centipede and fist. I forgot about that.
Yes, you do. It's underwater too, so that one's 2 strikes.
Yeah.
Okay. So my actual favorite boss fights. I have Adira from Kina.
Yeah.
The fight for that was my favorite. It was the one, like we've all talked about, how every fight is like a puzzle, but it's also an epic boss fight, and that one was very good and emotional and challenging and pretty all at the same time. So I have 2 nominations from Ender Lilies, which is Silva, which is the second nun that you fight, and then Julius, who I thought was the most difficult boss in the game because he hits like a motherfucking truck and parries a lot of your attacks.
He's in the poison area, right, Captain Julius?
No. He's in the ruined castle. He's the knight, the guy who won like the London.
Oh, okay, all right. Oh, he's the one that's on the throne.
Yes.
Okay.
That
Yeah,
motherfucker.
yeah.
All right. Yeah. Fuck that guy.
Interesting.
Fuck that guy. I have this is technically not new this year as a new fight because it's a remake, but I have number 6, aka Halua, which is basically what's left of Emil's sister. Spoilers for the game, but when you fight her, this is how Emil goes from being the little boy that you meet in the first game to being the robot skeleton body thing that you know from the second year game. It's incredibly sad and disturbing, and it's a near fight. That's what it does. My number 2 is actually Raven Beak, who is the final boss in Metroid Dread. He is what you want in a final boss. He's multiple stages. He's challenging, but fair and fun and flashy. And there's some weird story around it. And I had a moment of like, what the fuck you saying, bitch? Because ew. But
when you said Ravenbeak, I thought of what Pothead in Death's Door calls you. He says, "Hey, Beak face."
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought of that. Sorry.
No, but Ravenbeak is the final boss in Dread, and he was the one boss I could remember this year where it was like I had that heart pounding. Yes, I got him. Like it was a difficult but rewarding challenge that mountain to climb. And then my number 1 for the year is another near fight, which is Louise, who is the new boss from the new chapter that they added to Nier that wasn't in the original PS3 version of the game. And I'm actually going to reserve talking about that until our next category.
What a fight.
Matt?
Number 3. I picked this because I feel like this is the best example of a boss fight all around. Corrupt Taro from Kina. There are story arcs in this game that I prefer to this one, but I feel like the Corrupt Taro fight is sort of the business card for what you're about to embark on every time you are going to lay one of these masks to rest. Number 2, it's a tie from Death's Door. Gray Crow, who is a late game boss, and the secret final boss. I'm not going to say too much because I think I know who the final boss is.
You
probably do. It's not really hard to figure out, but also like I know that I have platinumed the game at this point, and not everyone has. So I figured I'm not going to spoil it since it's still very new. And then my number 1 is a tie from Inscription, the Trapper and Leshy. Both of these, like the Trapper specifically because I was about to walk away. And then I had something to do at my PC last, I think it was Thursday. And while I was waiting, I decided to do an Inscription run, and I beat the Trapper. And then I got stuck at Leshy for like a couple of attempts. And then in the Leshy fight, I destroyed the moon. And then the game changed.
For those
And
who
then
don't, just to make it clear, it's a card builder. So
Yes.
you've all played card-like games. Like
Yeah,
you
it
play
has
a card, they like their cards like 10 health, 10 attack,
Mhm.
like you have to whittle it down. This motherfucker, you have 2 rounds. He decides all the cards are like maybe 5 health. There's a few
Yeah.
6 and 7. He
Mhm.
goes, no, you're not winning. Throws this one card, the whole board, it's 40 health.
Hang
40.
on. Let's paint a picture.
I don't want to. No. We're gonna get more into it later. I just don't want to.
Turns around and he takes a picture of the moon, and the moon disappears and ends up on the table.
Yeah, he kind of went all Thanos in Infinity War and just.
And then
I'm gonna
it
take the
hits,
moon and throw it at you.
it hits everything for 1 point. And if there's nothing in that row, it hits you for a point, and it has 40. Inscription is so fucking good. Anyway, but yeah, Trapper and Leshier are my winners here.
So my dishonorable mention is from Inscription, the painter. So this boss,
I love that fight.
You're presented with this fight, and the boss says, "I don't know what to do. Pick my abilities."
Oh yeah.
So once you figure it out, it's easy. But I wasn't paying attention. I picked an ability, basically, I draw a card, a random card takes damage.
Mhm.
So I didn't realize the strategy. I would draw a card, it would take damage and remove my card. I was literally in a loop of I placed up to 15 cards down that kept getting destroyed. I'm like, what the fuck? And then finally he figured out and goes, okay, we'll scratch that round. That was practice. And you're like, I'm screaming at the computer, fuck you. What do you mean it was practice?
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
This game, man, this game.
My honorable mention is all the bosses in Loop Hero, because you really can't fully prepare for any of them because you don't know what the loop is. So it's not like, oh, let me learn the strategy, what I need, because you could hit the boss at any point and you're like, oh, well, wish me luck. Number 3 from Ender Lilies, Honir. He's the one who vanishes and summons all those ads. For some reason, I had the most trouble with him.
Watcher's fight.
And it was one of those boss fights in video games where you do it and you're like, yes, yeah, fuck yeah.
It was the nightmare in Remnant.
Number 2 was Duke in Fist. Got into that fight. I'm like, I'm not fighting this dude in a wheelchair. We are. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And then when you beat him, you're like, will you kill him? And you're like, oh, that wasn't that hard. Oh, giant robot. Oh, he's got a giant robot. Son of a bitch.
Yes. Yes. Of course, that wheelchair was going to always transform. Of course.
Perfect for Matt's category name. Number 1 for me was the Nemesis in Returnal. The Nemesis was, it stalled me. Like I went hard on this game when it came out, and I had so much trouble. It was more getting to this fight, but like every time I lost, it was just like deflating. I finally was like, fuck it, I'm just keep trying. And I finally beat him. I think I was in a party with Moose, and I'm like, yes. And then from then on, the whole game changed, actually. Like my respect for Returnal, like it jumped like numbers on my game of the year list, like because I was able to complete this and then finish the game. But like this was like a turning point. But the fight was like, I wanted to get to it was getting to the fight was the problem, but getting to it was the fight was so fun. Like it's 3 phases. In phase 2, the floor starts disappearing, and in phase 3, the game's like, nope, no floor. You're floating the whole time or falling, your choice. So it was such a good job by the studio. Like it was awesome.
That sounds like you had my interaction with the trappers. Like you're about to walk away, and then nope.
Oh, and I did. I mean, I beat
Didn't hear no bell.
I didn't do it for Rock. Get up, Rock. Do it for Mickey. Oh, Father, do the thing.
Story Route Zero, we have some cool friends who do some cool things, and I'd like to tell you about them. Phoenix Overdrive uses the power of games and gamers to help heal sick kids through the charity Extra Life. Phoenix Overdrive fundraises for Children's Miracle Network hospitals all year, every year, and the fun culminates in a 24-hour gaming marathon. Find out more about their events and projects online via Facebook at facebook.com/Phoenix Overdrive or on Twitter and Instagram at PHX_Overdrive. You can also join the Facebook group of Pawn Stars at facebook.com/groups/PO Nation in order to share and discuss all the latest in nerd culture. They've also got a podcast, Nerd Overdrive, which you can see weekly at youtube.com/Phoenix Overdrive. You can also catch it on Facebook Live or twitch.tv/PHX_Overdrive. That podcast is also published on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Stitcher. You want merch? They got merch. Merch can be ordered from tinyurl.com/PHXODmerch, a portion of which goes to their fundraising efforts. Join the nation and be a hero to sick kids, as El Capitan Rey Osorio, Lee the Maestro, and Becky, the lovely queen of the guild, always say, #Rise Above. Thank you for listening to Story Route Zero. We hope you have enjoyed your time here as much as we've enjoyed having you. Once again, questions, concerns, complaints, pictures of pets, or favorite recipes can be sent to storyroute0@gmail.com. You can yell at us on Twitter at StoryRoute0. Rate us and review us on iTunes, YouTube, or wherever you may have found us, as it helps with discoverability. If you'd like to hit us up individually, you can find Moose Cool at Sven, that's SVHENN on Twitter, PSN, Instagram, and of course Twitch, streaming games. You can find Jason Marshall writing at obelisk.co. You can also find him on Twitter at GimpyJ with 2 Y's at the end, as well as PSN, Instagram, and Twitch. He also has his own website, whereisthepausebutton.com. You can find Michaela Crescione doing all sorts of writing at obelisk.co, as well as on Twitter at RedXMod. My name is Matthew Keel. You can find me everywhere I'd like to be at infinite_rewind. That's Twitter, that's Instagram, that's Twitch, that's PSN, and I also have my own website, infiniterewind.com. Be sure to check us out at all the places. You are always welcome, and you will always have a seat waiting for you on this ride. Thank you for listening, but for now, it's back to the real world for us. So we will see you on the next one.